people talk about the American dream, have the house, have the money, have the cars, have the family. But to me, like saying, okay, money's great, but it didn't fill the void. There was something missing because I wanted to live life with peace, happiness. I didn't want it to feel forced. I wanted it to feel natural. You really have to take care of yourself if you want to feel good. So yes, love and accept yourself. That would be my number one advice.
Welcome to my interview series, You Are Meant for More. I'm Stella, and I'm an alternative practitioner and a co-energetic therapist. And I invite people to that interview, like you and me, to discover, to hear and learn from them. What does it mean you're meant for more? And what does it mean to have a spirit, a soul? And what kind of difference does it make in their lives? So my guest today is Noe. Hi, Noe. I'm really glad that you make time, that you are here today. And give me a short moment to introduce you correctly. Noe Renteria was born and raised in California, but has called Salinas his home for the better part of his life, where he enjoyed a prosperous long real estate career as a real estate broker and investor. Because of Noe's real estate investments, he no longer works much, but instead spends most of his time enjoying life and pursuing his passion projects, which include healing conversations, as you can see in the background, a weekly makeup featuring guest speakers sharing their healing journeys with a live audience. That's fantastic. So, hi, Noe. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's my honor and pleasure to hold space with you and do this interview. So happy. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm glad that you have time for that. So, my first question is, what does spirituality mean to you? And how did you discover you're meant for more? What does it mean for you to have a spirit, a soul? Call it higher self, a goddess inside your universe, or however you want to call it. And what makes a difference? Is there a difference since you
Well,
discovered?
what does it mean, spirituality for me? That's a very loaded question because what it meant for who I used to be is completely different from what it means to me now. What it means to me now is connecting with something beyond this form, beyond the mind. You could even say beyond emotion, beyond thoughts, something spiritual. And for lack of better words, um, we try to label what all of this is, and what I've learned to do is to not confine even this expression just on form and labels and spirituality, which is a what we try to describe something beyond ourselves, but it's just being open to being guided, being open to be formed, being open to be expressed, being open to live life differently than how I live life differently. So for me, spirituality meant embracing something beyond form and just leaning into, I guess, for the lack of better words, and to be able to describe the undescribable is to open your heart to be guided, to receive intuitive messages, to be a different expression, a better, I would say, I like to not say better or worse, but for me, I like where I'm at now. So I would say better expression of Noe.
You
That's
said,
encouraging.
I really like it because it's what I get, what I think is important for them who are listening to us, that you said to open your heart and get informations, intuition. So I think these are words which people can connect to open your heart. So what does it mean for you exactly? Everybody is saying open your heart. So what does it mean to live with an open heart for
Well,
you?
I could tell you the contrast. I used to live through the mind, meaning that my life was governed by dogma, rules that now I see as illogical rules and ways of being that conflicted and caused suffering within my expression. Just, there was a constant opposing intentions, conflicts. And so
So
to have
that
an open,
means, just to get it more clear, before you lived more through your mind.
correct. It was
That,
totally through here.
yeah, and that creates a lot of conflicts, right?
Lots of conflicts all the time,
Yeah,
daily,
all the time. Okay. And the change is that you realized to live from the heart,
to
an
live from the
open
heart.
heart. Yeah. But how did you discover it? That is the first question. How did you, because, yeah, what was the reason to discover that there is maybe something else? Did you suffer too much, or what was your journey, that you questioned your life, or you have been looking for something else more fulfilling?
Well, I can say that the perspective from the body is that there's cause and effect. The perspective of grace is that things are simply being expressed as they are. And so through grace, I am here now. But if we want to talk about cause and effect, what seemingly appeared to happen was that I ended a 17-year marriage and relationship, which caused me to go into a state of, just being really sad. My
Mhm.
family, my identity was tied to as a family head, a father, a husband. My identity was tied to my career as a real estate broker, and everything came into question. Then I started reading books on how to be happy. How can I be happy with where I'm at? And so then that led me to spiritual writings. Like I read the Bhagavad Gita for once, and then it
Yeah.
led to, yeah,
But that's great, because this is what people want to know. A lot of people discover that there's something else because there's a point in your life, and often you suffer. But I think the cool thing is that you question that suffering. Why is it there? And so you're searching for another way. And this is what I'm hearing when you speak about your path. So you also looked, what is happiness, or how can I be happy in my life? Why do I have to suffer?
right. Suffering it was not enjoyable, but now as I reflect back, it was part of who Noe used to be and the old chapter, the old iteration. And so I have the perspective that life is like a blank canvas. And as a blank canvas, it has many strokes with many different colors. And so is as it is with life. With life, in order to know happiness, we have to experience sadness. In order to know love, we experience hate. In order to know the light, we experience darkness. And so how I've been able to recontextualize my experience of who Noe is that I am thankful for those dark times. And dark times arise. Don't get me wrong. It's a cycle. It's a
Yeah,
cycle of life.
yeah, still. And
Correct.
what is the difference nowadays, since you found, yeah, how can I say it, the connection to your heart, the connection to spirit? What is the difference then, if you experience sadness or sad things surrounding you? What is then the difference than before?
The difference now is this trust and knowing that all is well. Before I felt isolated and alone, which it's easy to get into the trap of being sad and depressed and just thinking that nobody cares and you're just isolated. Now, sadness can happen, but it doesn't stick around very long because um, once the light of awareness has shone through, it's almost like you can never turn off that light. And so that
Can you make
awareness
it
is
a
always
bit more clear? Because this is really precious what you say now. What is the difference that you can, yes, sadness could be there, but not for that long period of time as it used to be, as you felt separated. So that means now, what is the difference? What happens now when sadness comes along?
Well, I know better. That's really what you could really say the bottom line is. I just simply know, feel with all my heart and soul. I know better. And because I know better, I know that I am connected to all of life. And since I'm connected to all life, all I have to do is step out the door and gaze at the sky, at the trees, at all life, and just feel how beautiful life is being expressed and how beautiful life is being expressed in me and how
Yeah.
everything is, for me, the perspective I have is that everything is being expressed as unconditional love, including ourselves.
Okay.
So,
No, you tap into a person. I was asking myself if I would never had heard a lot of about that. And I have a little bit an understanding what it means, an open heart, a spirit, but I want to understand more. What happened in Noe's life that he is able now to tap into his heart and don't feel separated all the time and feel more joyful? What has he done? Why is it that he is feeling so different now? This is my question.
well, two people along my journey, one a mentor and one that just I happened to run into, and I don't believe anything's by chance, said, "You have a closed heart." And at first I said, "What? A closed heart? No, I am a loving person." Then I reflected and I saw that I was living through fear. My heart was in fact closed. I was protecting myself from people that weren't trying to harm me because of the trauma that I experienced growing up, relationship trauma, feelings of not feeling worthy, of needing to modify myself in order to be loved, to be accepted. And then I saw, wait a second, the thought came through, I love me. And then even the greater, higher perspective came through. There's no need to love me because I am already loved. There's not a part of me that is not loved. And so the message
Ah,
with healing,
okay. That's a realization you had in that moment, right?
right? It was a
Yeah,
powerful realization that changed
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, and that is really knowing. Then you know that you know. Yeah, because you had that realization. That's a great gift, Noe.
I'm just so thankful that I received that message because it changed, it created this new baseline of what this expression is, right? And even with that, I realized the more I receive, the more I know I don't know anything, and the more open and curious I am to life to show me what's next. And the
Yeah.
content that I have with life simply just the way it is, um, I'm just happy, with
And Noe, do you think that everybody could have that realization that you are loved?
I feel that one way to do that, and there's so many ways out there, right? We went through one particular way with Matthew Ferry, and then I learned other ways, and there's so many ways out there, right? What
So
I learned
many.
is that they all work. But yes, we can all have that realization. We can look at our lives from two perspectives, fear or love. What way feels better? In what way are we empowered? In what way are we disempowered? For me, the answer was clear. I was living through fear and it no longer served me. So I chose love, or love chose me through grace.
I love this one. I really love this one. They're the two perspectives to live from love or fear. And yeah, that's so beautiful. So how could somebody make this change from fear to love? You said already there are so many ways, but what was the most important on your way that you could do that change more and more often? Because
Honestly,
I you sometimes, of course, they're coming fear around, but then you can handle it differently or faster.
I mean, this is such a loaded question that I could spend hours talking about. First of all, my perspective is that I didn't do anything. Life did it, and I'm simply that expression. But if I go back and reflect at moments of when I was faced with fear and love, there was so many, and I saw myself choosing in between fear and love many times, going back and forth. And that's the dance of life. That's that portrait,
You
that
said
masterpiece.
you said something really important. On one side, you you haven't done anything. That's true and not true. You allowed to be there. Without allowance, nothing can happen. I see it all the time with people. And you said also there's a choice you made, and this is doing something. For me, it is doing something. We have the choice. Often we don't realize that we have really a choice. And
Right.
just by choosing to be open, but this is a doing, I choose it, and then it can come through me.
I do agree with that. From this character, Noe, that speaks right now, there's openness for all this to happen, right? Like I'm just open to the great mystery, and being childlike, right? And just saying, well, I don't know. And so that not knowing and being open really allowed for this new expression to come through. If you wouldn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation 5 years ago. There was no resonance. There was nothing resembling this character here. And so the character dissolved once I looked at all the stories that created this character, how illusory they really are. They only exist here. When I release this and all the stories, it create a space in the heart and openness for this new expression to come through. And then the
Make it more
choices,
clear what kind of stories, because this is an important one. I think everybody wants to know, what do you mean exactly with stories? What kind of
well,
stories did you release? The fear stories,
all
the
the stories. Yeah. So we all grow up a particular way, right? For
right,
me, a lot of my story was rooted in a strict religious household with lots of dogma, illogical rules, morality, a lot of things that said I should be this way in order to be a righteous and acceptable person in the eyes of God. And so it created a lot of inner conflict and
like pressure, right? Also pressure.
right, a lot of pressure to do things the right way, that there's a right way to do things. And so for me, it was seeing past all that, really healing that version of myself and seeing through those stories that they were just made up. Like my parents were just doing the best they could, right? We all are, in fact. That's the
Mm.
acceptance and the grace that we extend ourselves and others. And so they didn't know any better to raise me that way. And so yes, I accepted that. And then I learned to reframe, recontextualize the stories in my head. How do I want to experience life that would be from a place where I could fully be immersed in my expression without any inner conflict? And what did that mean? It meant that I had to get past the stories in the head and create new stories, basically a new narrative on how I experience and view the world. And so the new
Yes, you
narrative
gave
that it,
right now, you gave us a uh, really good tool. You said you recontextualize. That means um, you know which stories you don't like anymore, which don't do any good for you, to you, and you change them, you shifted them, you recontextualize them into something you want to live. This is one
correct.
tool. Then that's really a great one. I just want to make it clear for the audience.
We all have the power at any moment. The future doesn't exist. There is no someday on the calendar. All there is this right here, full stop. This right here. We have the power to turn this off, to change the narrative that's going on right here, to let the fear go, and to lean into our intuitive hearts and allow something new to come through. And by creating space, we get rid of the mind stories. We open the heart and make ourselves available and open to receive new energy and information to be expressed differently. And like me, I didn't know I was going to be this guy. And I so appreciate I so appreciate the perspective I have. I feel freedom, liberated. I felt like I was in prison mentally, suffering, torture, right, for the better part of my life. And I now experience freedom, and it's so refreshing. It's that contrast that I talked about of our masterpiece painting being expressed in our life.
That's so beautiful, so powerful. I really feel it in my heart. I'm so touched. Thank you, Noe, to explain it so beautifully. And it was so clear. So I already wanted to ask you, but you also said all about it. What kind of change it made in your life and also in your professional life, not only in your personal life. And as I made the introduction, I read already you changed a lot, right? But tell us
Yes.
more about what is the
Oh,
change through that realization in your life?
so I went through a phase of sacrificing for family, accumulating material wealth through my real estate business to take care really of them, take care of my family. So I did a really good job of that. But then I felt empty. Like people talk about the American dream, have the house, have the money, have the cars, have the family, have all these things, status quo. But to me, I after a divorce and like saying, okay, money's great, but it didn't fill the void. There was something missing. So for me, the shift from identifying myself with these old stories that is the way to be happy, buying somebody else's story that wasn't resonating with the
Mm,
heart. I shifted out of that and I made space to for something new to emerge because I wanted to live life with peace, happiness. I didn't want it to feel forced. I wanted it to feel natural. And where I'm at now, I feel at peace. I wake up every morning, and there was a period of time that I got off my morning practice, my self-care routine, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have some sort of self-care routine. You really have to take care of yourself if you want to feel good. Just like
mm.
if you eat bad and you don't work out, you don't do some sort of exercise, or you don't feed your mind beautiful things, well, what's going to happen, right? What happens
That's
if you eat
so
bad and
important. Yeah, that's so important. I love this one. What is your routine, your morning routine? Call it morning, evening, however, but you have one.
right. So I used to have a very extensive one, but I keep it very basic now. I love to meditate and I love to write. And so when I meditate, I get so inspired. Usually when I meditate, I typically sometimes get poems. So I write poems. Or when I meditate, I have some beautiful thoughts and then I just sit with them. And they're like reflections for the week. To me, meditation, and I'm not like saying that you have to meditate, but for me, meditation is my go-to tool that I use to get into a very beautiful state and for my self-care. I get grounded. I just set myself up to have a beautiful day. And then writing is also a very good exercise for the expression of what the stories are right here. Sometimes, it takes us writing to become aware of what's going on in the head, where the fears are at. And then with that awareness of putting things down in writing, we're able to have a choice to negotiate those things, right? To change that
Mm,
narrative.
mm. Yes, I really love this. I also love to meditate. And as you said, you don't have to meditate. There are a lot of ways, but what is the beauty, I think, also about meditation? You get all the inspiration and you are so aligned with your intuition, and that is so beautiful. Yeah, I can agree.
Right. I love meditation. I couldn't agree more with what you just said.
How does that approach of finding spirituality, as I call it, change your professional life, your business? Did you
Well,
integrate it or just change? Yes, tell us more about it.
so right now I pretty much stopped actively working. For example, I have a listing appointment to put a home for sale at the middle of the month. but it's not something where it's a daily practice that I engage in business anymore. I
So what
delegated,
does it mean you have, sorry to interrupt you, but that's an important thing about money. So
right,
let's
right.
talk about money. That means, so you made already a lot of money. You don't have to worry about it, or you have a routine that you spend not that much time anymore for that hustle, but still have an income.
Right, so I have rentals. So I have a property management company that I delegated the management of my rentals to, and so then I have passive income, and so that passive income is more than enough to take care of my living expenses, lifestyle, and then I
But
feel
that's
very
another
fine.
that is another decision. No, you could say with the old mindset, just to make that clear for everybody. Oh, that's not enough. I need more money, more cars, more traveling. So, and you will then you are in that old mindset, hustle, 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 and nothing changed.
Right.
And you could realize in your case, oh, I have passive income, it's enough.
It's
And
more
then
than enough. Hmm.
more
You're
than
right.
enough.
You're right. I could be in the old mindset that I have to accumulate more and accumulate more and more and more. But I mean, like, what's the point? The way I see life, we're these infinite beings having a very temporary and transient experience as humans. And I already worked, practically 7 days a week for many years. I worked very hard to create or to be blessed with what I have. And so I see right now as an opportunity to just lean into enjoying life and doing like what I love doing, which is healing conversations, stepping
Right.
up as a guide and life coach for people and helping people change their narratives and to be empowered and to leave suffering. That is what I'm being called to. And so I'm leaning into what's coming through. Making money is
Mhm.
not what's coming through. Will money be made doing this? Perhaps, but it's like the
Oh, I
driving
love
force.
this one. No, I really love this one because you again said this is not what's coming true. So so a lot of people have the old mindset, the ideas is you have all the ideas what you need for life and that makes you happy. But once you realize that you come from your heart and you are open and follow the intuition, that's maybe a total different life that you ever could imagine. Maybe money is not part of it anymore. But what there will be for sure is that you're satisfied and more than that.
I am completely satisfied and content with life just as it is. Obviously,
And
I
you
have
can all, yeah,
intentions
and you can
for
also fight.
changes. Mhm.
I love this. You could also fight and said, no, but I want more money. This part I will keep. I will stay with that.
I
Yeah,
played with that for a while too, where I was like, wait a second, I want to change the context, the narrative with real estate so that I continue doing that and also pursuing my passion project. But I was forcing it and it didn't feel good. So I leaned into not doing it so that maybe something new can arise, yet to be determined in the future. But it's not
yeah,
something that I think on a daily basis. This is what I think about on a daily basis, like just being a space holder and stepping in as a healer and helping people. Like I know I don't make it heavy. There's no one here helping anyone, but it's what's coming through, and I'm just making myself available to be that vessel to help
exactly.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. Nobody really helps the other one. It's just coming true. But just another sentence to make it clear about money. It could also be that it's part of your journey to cut that more money should become because of something. So I don't want to make it smaller. Yeah, whatever money means. It's just one expression of Noe, how he is living it. But I have a last question for our interview today. Is there any advice or something you want to give? Yes, to tell at the end what is important or could be important for others?
Right. It's the message that I tell everybody through the space that I hold with healing conversations, and it's to Simply start loving and being kind to yourself and gentle and accepting. The more loving and accepting you are to yourself, the more your world will be transformed, the more the narratives and the stories will start to fall away, the more that space will be created for something new to emerge in you that will create a new way of experiencing life. And don't be hard on yourself if this is what you choose to do and if this is what's coming through for you, like it did for me. Be gentle with yourself in the process because where there is a rebirth, there must be destruction. And so it is a destructive and creation that is happening at the same time. So don't get caught up in the timeline. So yes, love and accept yourself. That would be my number one advice.
Wow, that's so great. That's so great. I really love it. Yeah. I don't want to add something on it because this is really beautiful. Thank you so much for that interview, Noe. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Stella.
Thank you, Noe.